Keep the same energy, the same energy, 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 keep the same energy, the same energy. Keep all that bullshit away from me. I don't fall away. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jerome Smith, also known as JS, aka The Best, and welcome back to my favorite day of the week, Sync Music Mondays. And you know I gotta introduce my man, my brother, the man, the myth, the legend, Kyle Hunter, also known as K Sparks. What's good, man?
At Sync Music Mondays, we are in the building. Financial literacy for musicians, teaching you, educating you, just to be your best self, how to monetize your music from price to scale. Y'all know what it is, man. It's our favorite day of the week. It's my favorite day of the week, Jay's, and it's y'all's, because y'all watching us. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Now, they need some gems, man. What is today's word of the day?
Word of the day. Y'all know what it is, man. Every Monday, we drop some gems, drop some knowledge on y'all, man. So today's word of the day is as follows. Your direction is more important than your speed. I'll say that again, and y'all see this up on the screen. Your direction is more important than your speed. I think a lot of times it's that saying that we always heard. My grandmother used to tell me growing up, haste makes waste. You know, we want to get things done so quickly, but a lot of times people overlook the fact that you actually might be going in the wrong direction. So, you know, don't try to accomplish things so fast. I always tell people, don't let the internet discourage you because everybody's not posting their failures. So just run your own race, you know, and make sure that the race and the direction that you're running in is the right direction. Don't chase the crowd. There's a saying, they say, you know, don't follow the masses because sometimes the letter M is silent. So, you know, you can be following people that they really don't even know what they're doing. So, you know, just run your race, do what you got to do. And that is the word of the day.
Yes, I love it, man. Always dropping the gems because people, they need to learn.
That's it. That's it, man. You know it. You know it.
Yes, and today, man, it's a very, very special episode. We got a special guest in the building. You might have seen her work, you know, on Netflix, Apple TV, HBO Max. I could keep going on and on. JID, Pusha T, I could keep going on and on. But we don't have that type of time because, yeah, gotta talk that talk. And it's very important, no, but it is very, very important that we showcase women that do this because a lot of times we don't always get a chance to see women, you know, shining the way she shines. So ladies and gentlemen, Genevieve Vincent, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. Yeah, it's a nice sunny morning in LA as usual.
Yes, 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 always good weather. No complaints when you're in LA and, you know, had that nice weather to wake up to every day.
hmm
That's it.
Yes.
Thank you for that lovely intro. I'm like, oh yeah, I did some stuff.
Yeah, because I know right now, I'm pretty sure you're working on a number of different projects. So, you know, it's always good just to have that nice reminder of like, oh, that's right, I did do this, and this. So, you know, just a nice little friendly reminder.
That's a fact. That's a fact. It's dope to have you on the show. You know, this show primarily we feature like music supervisors, successful artists, music producers, everybody that's relative to the world of sync and music licensing. So, I mean, you know, we kind of gave like a glossed over view of you, but for the listeners that might be hearing you for the first time, can you tell them in your own words, you know, who is the GOAT known as Genevieve?
Well, like, yeah, so I'm a composer now. I also like produce a lot of the time with my producing partner, Chris. And I write songs. And actually before I was a composer, I was a music supervisor for ads. So I've kind of like worked in all the different parts of, I mean, a lot of different parts of the business. So yeah, that's, you know, pretty much the overview of it.
Nice, nice. Now, I want to kind of go back to the beginning. Can you talk about what it was like growing up in Canada and like how did that influence, you know, your musical style?
Yeah. Yeah, so I grew up in Vancouver, BC. And I played violin. I was really fortunate to have a mom who put me in violin lessons when I was really little, when I was 3. And so that was kind of like the beginning of it. And yeah, and I was just lucky to like be able to take music lessons, like all my life when I was growing up. And so that was, that I think like helped me kind of like get on the path really early. But and I was like I would like write songs on the piano. I was in a band in high school. The band would like do covers of like what did we do? Uh like Black Hole Sun, like that kind of stuff. It was like
Oh,
emo, it was like grungy, like emo covers, like Smashing Pumpkins. Like I was like,
mm,
yeah, that's
okay.
and I was like singing it. But yeah, I just, I always loved music and I actually got really into jazz pretty young too. My mom had a boyfriend who was super super into jazz, and like he ended up giving me a bunch of like Decca box sets when I was little, and it's just like listening to that and like getting into like Billie Holiday and like Ella Fitzgerald, and I would like memorize like everything that they did, and Nina Simone, and I just became like obsessed with like the way that they sang and like all of their like vocal characteristics, and I just tried to like, I don't know, like memorize like everything that they did. And I don't know, it was a different time, because we had like CDs back then, which
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
so you'd have like a bunch of CDs and you'd be like, well, these are all the CDs I have. So I'm just going to listen to them 47,000 times. Um, but anyway, yeah. So I ended up going to Berklee College of Music in Boston. Yeah, that's sort of like the beginning of the story, I guess. Hmm.
Okay, so how did you end up in LA?
Yeah, LA. It was a bit of a winding path. It was like basically, I mean, to tell you how I ended up in LA, I kind of have to tell you like how I ended up in New York.
Oh, let's start there then. Let's start there.
Yeah, so like when I got out of Berklee, I studied film scoring and composition at Berklee, and that was when I was like, I want to be a writer. I don't really want to be a performer. Like that was kind of like I thought I wanted to be a performer, and then I started studying um and writing more and taking that more seriously, and like the idea of producing and like creating the whole track and like having control over like, the whole sound, the whole palette, like start to finish, like that became much more exciting. So I majored in film scoring and composition. And when I got out of Berklee, I really actually just wanted to like obviously like write and get in the studio and all that stuff. And I was kind of like lucky enough to meet some like this one filmmaker in Vancouver who like basically let me score all of his films while I was still in college. So I was kind of had this like side hustle while I was in college, and I was scoring his stuff and all that. But anyway, I basically finished Berklee and I had a ton of debt, as many of us get into that situation. And I was like, well, I could go to LA. Like LA would have been better at the time, right away for film scoring. But I was like, that seems way too expensive. Like I know like choosing New York to be less expensive sounds insane. Um, but at the time I was just like, this is a shorter move and I don't have to like I can just like take a bus to New York and like
Mhm.
live in New York and it's fine. So yeah, so I ended up in New York, and I had gotten like I basically did a bunch of like cold calling. I didn't know anybody in New York. I like basically called a whole bunch of places. And this is like one of the pieces of advice I would give to people. Like if you don't have an in, if you don't know anybody, like sometimes you can just like call like make cold calls, and like it actually does sometimes pan out. I mean, so like I had been calling all these different music companies and just like being like, hey, like do you know this person, like do you know that person from Berklee, like I'm looking for an internship and whatever. So I had like secured this like unpaid internship, really great for living in New York City. And yeah, and I ended up getting actually into production. Like it wasn't not like our kind of production, but like getting into like the production side of like a music company. Because it was like when I got there, I wanted to like demo and like, write and like get into that. But I feel like at the time it was, they were like, well, you're like good with people and like you should hang with the clients and, you'd be good at like, doing client services stuff. And I was just like, I want a job, So I ended up actually getting into music production, like on the business side of it, kind of like working at that music company as an intern, getting hired, bouncing around to a few different music companies. And then eventually, um, I ended up learning music supervision from this woman at this ad agency who like hired me. And finally, I found myself at like one of the best music supervision companies in New York, which is Randall Poster's company. At the time, it was called Search Party. Now it's called, I believe, Premier Music. But I found myself, working for him for 2 years. And at that point, I was like a full on music supervisor, and I had learned a lot of the ropes of that. And then this is kind of like a female empowerment side of it. There was one of the EP, the executive producer of that company. She was like, I'm starting my own company, and I want you to go out to LA, and I want you to find an office and open up and run the LA office. And so I took the, opportunity because I was like, this is amazing. The thing is I was like 26 at the time. And I was like, okay, like I can keep doing this. But I still wasn't like composing full time. I still wasn't like, I was like writing music, but it was always a side hustle. And I was like, okay, this is an amazing opportunity, so I can't turn it down. But it always was in my heart that it wasn't what I was meant to be doing. And so I took it. She moved me out to LA. She's extremely generous and like very, just kind and I mean, super talented. And, she's a great music supervisor. Her name's Sarah Matarazzo. Can't say enough positive things about her. She totally changed my life. Um, and her company is still around. It's called Walker. And so I, ran her stuff for, yeah, a little while. And then I was like, okay, that's it. No more of this. So that's how I ended up in LA. A very, very long winded tale for you.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, well, that's pretty cool. To see how you took that leap of faith though too, because I mean, that's the common theme. I think like a lot of musicians, the term starving artist, like a lot of artists would rather try to stay with what's safe as opposed to actually taking that leap of faith. So that's pretty dope that you were able to transition like that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you get lucky too, like, I mean, there was a lot of luck in there. I'm like, I don't fucking know how that turned out. Like, okay, because there was a lot of times where I was like, I have no money for my rent.
That's a jingle right there. I'll put that behind a beat.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Um,
man.
but yeah, actually the like production stuff, the like Pusha T and the JID and like that kind of stuff, that happened like right after I quit my job. Because like I had formed a connection with Universal through that old job, and I was basically like, hey, like, can I do remixes for you? Like, it was for their sync arm, UME, Universal Music Enterprises. They do like custom stuff, and then they have like a whole huge catalog. And yeah, so that all that stuff came about through doing remixes with my like band partner, producing partner, Chris James. Um, and that was kind of like I was like, oh, okay, good. I'm making a little bit of money. That's good. Yeah. And then working with those dudes was like insane. So there you go.
Nice, nice. Now, what would you say was like your first like real big opportunity that was like the game changer?
I think in composing or just like in life.
I would say both.
I think going to Berkeley, like if I hadn't gone to Berkeley, like I honestly, I know that sounds like mental because you don't have to go to like school to be a musician, like, and you don't have to like it. It was more I needed to leave my hometown, so it wasn't so much that like, I mean, Berkeley was the fucking best place I could have ended up, but just leaving my hometown to go somewhere where like there were like-minded people, I think that was like the biggest game changer because suddenly it was like, oh my God, everybody around me takes this seriously. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So probably that in life. And then wait, what was the other one? I'm like,
On the music side.
oh yeah, yeah, more, yeah, on like work composing stuff. Probably, I don't know, so many people. So like so many people have like helped me out. Um, I want to say I can't even like almost narrow it down because it's like I'm really grateful. Like there's been so many things, so many times and I'm like, "What? Why are you trusting me?" Maybe maybe I guess the biggest leap I've like recently taken was probably getting to score Fantasy Island on Fox.
That's
Um
a big deal.
and yeah, huge deal. And I mean, you know, again, like everybody, like, they took a leap of faith on me too, because I hadn't done network TV before. And that's like a whole beast, that's a different kind of
Yeah.
thing than like, yeah, it's like a
Yep.
little,
Big deal. Yeah.
it's really fast paced. So yeah, I mean that.
Fire. That's fire. I mean, you've had so many accomplishments, and so many dope looks. Like, which one? Because me and Jay, like, we've gotten like collectively over like 2,000 placements between TV and film. So I know sometimes certain placements are surreal, and we're like, damn, that's dope. Which one can you say, like, when you look back on, like, was kind of surreal for you, or that you was like really, really, really proud of? You was like, yo, that's what's up.
First of all, that's amazing. Like you guys are so good at that. I'm like literally I have a band and I'm like, can we get one sync?
Oh,
Um,
man.
but yeah, that's like not easy to do. So like good for you. Yeah. I mean, Broken Hearts Gallery. Um, I think like when I got that, I was like, holy shit, because I just didn't know. I think it kind of hit me in like stages, but like when I first got that gig, I didn't have an agent or anything like that. And it was like I was like, oh, a script, and I read the script, and it was like, oh, I'm talking to the producer. Oh, cool. And then it was like, oh, I'm seeing the movie, and I was like, wow, this is like a real movie. This is like a real, actual, like fully produced. This isn't like an little indie movie. And I was like, oh, and it started to kind of come together because I didn't know what it was, and in some ways maybe that was good because when I did my demo, I wasn't like filled with fear. But yeah, I think probably, when I found out like Sony TriStar was going to put it out, I was just like, oh my God, like I did it. Like, that was the dream to do a studio movie, that was kind of like I literally was like, if I ever get lucky enough to do a studio movie, like, but like I hope I get one by the time I'm 40. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, that would be
Yeah.
amazing. Like I wouldn't even, I would be like, that's fucking great. But then, it happened a lot sooner than that. So I was like, oh wow. So probably, yeah, Broken Hearts Gallery. It's produced by Selena Gomez, who, I mean, is just amazing. I mean, she does everything.
That's
Um,
killing the game right now.
she really, and there's so many like women right now are opening so many awesome production companies. Like they're just like they're just like changing everything. Like it's starting to actually like get, I think, a lot more, interesting out there in Hollywood, a little more diverse. Um like I feel the wave, the wave, like that rising tide that lifts all ships. It's coming.
Yes, and it's long overdue. It's long overdue. This should have happened a long time ago, but I'm glad that it's finally starting to happen.
Yeah, definitely. It's been like so male dominated. Just entertainment in general, just historically, like just men running and operating everything. But I mean, at the end of the day, listen, it's so many talented women in the world. They're bosses, they're entrepreneurs. So why not? You know, like absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that I just so I know you know this, but I just did this show Gutsy, and that was Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton are the hosts of it. What's really great about that show is it's not really about Hillary and Chelsea, like obviously they host it, but they like kind of like gave all these women this platform to be noticed. And I think one of the things that I've come to learn over the years, because I didn't really get it before, like how sexism like really like works. Like I guess because I used to think of sexism like, oh, someone's gonna be like, I'm not hiring you because you're a woman, or I don't think you're a professional. I don't know. Like I sort of saw it in like this sort of present time sexism, like something that happens, sexist. But I think what I've come to understand over the years is that it's a bit of revisionist history. And so women are out there and they're doing amazing things. This applies to a lot of different groups of people, I would say. But there's a lot of people out there doing amazing things. And what happens is nobody nobody elevates them. Nobody like shines a spotlight on them. And so people, and even if they do get a little bit of the spotlight, the sort of there's this sort of revisionist history that happens, and certain types of men end up kind of taking the credit or getting the credit. And that's, I think that's also like the really horrible thing about it, like because you see like in the show Gutsy, you see these all these amazing women in all these different fields, and they're all like getting like highlighted, and you're like, whoa, like you're doing this and you're doing that, but they've been doing it
Mm-hmm.
the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just now like, oh wait, like there's a woman physicist over here doing this amazing thing, there's this female firefighter that's like this woman is changing, this woman is like changing like laws and is this like amazing judge, and like it's just like they've been doing it. So I'm glad that that actually brought some really like needed attention to that.
Yeah, yeah. Now there's a lot of listeners and people that's watching right now, and they're just thinking like, wow, especially females, like, wow, like I want to be like her. Like, what advice would you give to somebody that aspires to be just like you?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Stay in the game, and like just hold on for dear life. If you want it and you love it and you can stay in the game, you will get it. It's just going to take some time. It's like the word of the day that you said. It's not like about how fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like I actually thought that was really great. Wait, what was it again? Can I hear it
And
again?
so, yeah, it was like your direction is more important than your speed. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly. And I think that's like the best advice. And I would just agree with that, and I would reiterate it. It's like I got the same advice from actually Pinar Toprak, who's a very amazing composer. And she just said it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I thought about that for a long time, and it's simple, but it's true. So just like stay in the game, and there's a million ways to get in. There's no right way. You don't have to have an education. You don't have to be, you don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to act a certain way. You don't have to like, doesn't matter. Just know yourself. And the deeper you can understand who you are and your own sound, the more that that is going to resonate with others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, what advice would you give to your younger self? If you could have a conversation with your younger self, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I would just say, like, it's not like, don't be in a rush. It's okay. Like, it's gonna be okay. Don't be in a rush. And have more fun.
Mm.
I would say have more fun, because I was so worried about money, and I was so worried about everything that I just was like serious all the time. And I think yeah, I think you cut yourself some slack. Don't be so hard on yourself, that kind of stuff. I mean, we are all obviously our worst critics, and
Mhm.
cut yourself some slack because you deserve it, Let other people be the critic. It's not your job.
Facts. Facts. You dropping gems. You got the word of the day. You got That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. So I guess on the horizon, like you could tell all the people listening. I mean, we got a large base. So, what's next? What you working on? What's next on the horizon for you?
What is next? I have an album that's gonna come out with Dark Dark. That's my synth pop duo band. So that is we don't have a date for when it's dropping, but keep an eye out. Follow us on Spotify and Instagram, and it's just Dark Dark music. Lowercase dark, uppercase dark. So we are almost done our record. It's just getting mixed, and I would say it's like apocalyptic pop. That's the vibe that we've gone with on this one. So that's kind of my main focus right now. I just finished season 2 of Fantasy Island, so that is gonna, I believe, drop next year. And that's gonna be on Fox and also on Hulu, and you can, catch up on season 1 on Hulu. And yeah, then I'm just pitching out a bunch of stuff, so we'll see what shakes out.
Dope. Dope. That's fire. And for the listeners that want to follow you on social media, like what are your socials? Like, IG or whatever.
Yeah. So my IG is at You Are Canadian, YOUARE Canadian. Picked it a long time ago, and I just kind of kept it. People are like, what the hell? And I'm like, I can't explain it. Sorry. And yeah, the other one is at Dark Dark Music.
Dope. Fire. Fire. That's what it is.
Nice. Well, we appreciate you taking out the time, dropping those incredible gems of knowledge. We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, you guys. You guys are great.
Yes, and to all the listeners and watchers, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all of that. And until next week, we out.